Yes,
Oh,
you
I got a
do.
good one. I know you're all going to be very excited about this. So I was perusing the New York Post, and I found out that our favorite Chinese war lab in Wuhan will be receiving American funding until 2024.
Oh yeah.
Excited? I know you are.
Yes, I am.
Uncle Joe, you've done it again.
Yeah, they never fail to disappoint. Never fail. Um, it you'd think after all that they would decide that we don't need to fund that for a while. They've showed that it's a bad idea. They have failed in their obligations, but maybe not.
Yeah, all I can think about. You remember back in, I don't know, maybe it was 2016 when that incident occurred right from here in Utah at a certain laboratory about 50 minutes drive away.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
there might have been a
remember.
little anthrax that wasn't completely destroyed, and I don't know,
Yep.
Kim Jong Un got upset, and the funding dried up for years for that institution, and
Yeah.
everyone was so mad, and all the work just stopped, and people were put to the noose. I mean, and then here we go. Here we go. We just refund Wuhan. I don't know. It's
Yeah, if it was released on accident, I think we need to leave it alone until they button down their security. You know, I don't think we need to give them any more money. Matter of fact, find a lab down the street and give them money. Yeah.
oh,
So,
I think we've definitely proven that American laboratories are much more responsible.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
And if this was an accidental release, let's just have the foresight to say, yeah, it was an accidental release, and the Chinese were sorry, and oops, we did it again, right? Let's just say it was
they
an
could
accident.
they could make a TikTok video of it where they're lip syncing to
Britney
Britney
Spears.
Spears.
But if that was an accident, imagine what an intentional release would look like.
Mm,
Would it look much different?
probably not.
Would they want results that were much different than what they achieved with this quote accidental?
Nope.
Eh,
Nope. They I imagine it would look pretty close to the same.
very similar.
Yep. So we want some interaction tonight. We want some interaction. If you guys have questions or comments, or if you know of a place of need that you could point Christine at, that'd be great. We definitely want to make sure that this becomes a value to the community. We want it to we want it to spread through the show so that people are aware of. And then next week we've got the county mental health coming on to talk about, or the county health department coming on to talk about a drive they're doing. It's kind of a men's health drive. So join us then. You might find some information that you could find enlightening and helpful.
And just so everyone knows, like, we're very proactive out there trying to find good guests. And I tried to approach Mitt Romney's office. It almost had a result, but then towards the end, all of a sudden, it's like,
Yeah,
I don't think we want to come on. So if Tooele really, really has an appreciation for Mitt Romney, maybe you can give his office a call and just say, hey, we'd really love you to have a guest appearance on the Tooele Happy Hour. Change your mind and go give them a contact and get on the show, because we have a lot of questions for Mitt Romney. We'd love to hear his
yeah,
perspective on things, and I think Tooele deserves to have a little interaction one-on-one with their representatives once in a while, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, we also reached out to Merrill Nelson and trying to get him to come on. And he hasn't denied us yet. I don't know if he's even seen it. We don't know what the situation on that is, but we'd like to get him on and ask him what bills he's got looking at, what he is working on right now, and how he feels about some of the bills that's been passed as of late, such as
HB 60.
Yeah, the constitutional carry is a big one. Now
Right.
he voted against it, but I would like to hear his reasoning. Now, I know you and I talked about this, Dave, but it's I think we're seeing the silver lining of a Democrat gaining power, because we're seeing a lot of bills come out around the nation that are liberty minded.
You mean, for example, like the one Biden did an executive order on to stop the government from trying to hunt down illegal immigrants who committed sex crimes and just allow them to be?
I'm talking on state levels.
Oh, okay. All right. You're talking about state levels. I was thinking on federal.
Yes.
My apology.
Yes. You've got Missouri did their Missouri did are pushing through a bill. I know it passed the House. I don't know where it's at right now. And hold on. She's messaging me, but Missouri passed a bill to make all federal gun laws, past, present, and future, null and void.
Oh, I just assumed. My bad.
And Utah finally passed constitutional carry, and as we know, that's been something he's been trying to push through.
Surprisingly, it
years.
took a long time.
Well, we got a Democrat in charge. The Democrat has some rhetoric that seems threatening to the Second Amendment, and next thing you know, okay, got it. Here she is. We got Christine coming on now.
Drum roll.
Yep. Hey, how you doing? Oh, we're waiting for the audio. There you go.
There we are.
Hi, Christine.
Hello, hello.
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. We've just been having small talk while I neglected to look at Zoom and admit you. Usually sends an alarm up all over, but I've been really excited to have you come on. Last week we had a lady from Salt Lake that's been working with the homeless. She came on, and they're trying to build a
I lost you on audio.
They're trying to build a village. Technical difficulties. They're trying to build a tiny home village there in Salt Lake somewhere. They're looking for land and everything. And it's not they're trying to get the county involved, but it's mostly a private organization. And she came on and talked about it, but I didn't.
Who is your guest?
Her name is Ksenia. She runs something called the Nomad Alliance. And
Awesome.
I didn't want to burst your bubble, because I think what you've got going on out here is it's downright amazing. The plans that we have, or that you've been working on for Tooele. I love them. And so I want you to go ahead and tell us about them. Tell us what's going on, and what people can do to help, everything else.
Hey, well, so thanks for having me on. So I'm Christy Johnson, and I'm the director of the Tooele Community Resource Center, and we are a nonprofit, and we took over operations of the food pantry and resource center here in Tooele County, but we service all of Tooele Valley. So I want that to be clear, that it's not just, we're not a county entity, we're a nonprofit that serves all of Tooele Valley. So Wendover, Grantsville, anyone is welcome at our resource center and pantry that lives in our valley. We also have victims advocate services and run Pathways domestic violence shelter that is for men and women. We
Yeah,
have
that
clients.
let's stall on that for just a second.
I knew you would.
Okay.
Well, you've got I know you hear around that domestic violence shelters commonly don't allow men in. They're commonly just for women. And when you and I talked before, you said there's actually a few in Utah that allow men in.
Yes, because domestic violence is not just something that happens to women, although majority of the things that get reported are women
Mm-hmm.
that are reporting, but we have men that are victims of domestic violence, and we are a shelter that does welcome men and women at the shelter, and some people are like, oh no, that might make other clients uncomfortable, but we have to remember that they're victims, and we're there to help all of them. We don't discriminate against anyone who is in need of aid. So
when, I mean, if Dave needs to reach out to come down to the shelter, is there a crisis line?
yes, so they can call Pathways at 435-843-1677, and that line is answered 24/7. And then staff will talk to the individual in need. And sometimes they may not need to come into shelter, but may just need to talk to an advocate. Maybe they need help getting a protective order, or just, figuring out a safety plan. Sometimes they may have a safe place to be, but just need some guidance on what's the best way to go about getting a protective order, and just having someone to talk them through what services are available, and how we can help them. And we work with the Office of Victims of Crime, because if someone has filed a protective order and has had a criminal activity committed against them, by working with Office of Victims of Crime, there is funding to help moving costs, medical bills, and things like that will actually come out of fines from perpetrators that get prosecuted.
So that's a way that the fines collected from the state can go to can turn around, and it may not go directly back to the harmed individual, but it's kind of paid forward.
It is, and because a lot of times they're scared and they don't want to, but that is something that is available. So, and we're talking first and last month's rent and furniture, and think about all the moving expenses that you would have if you're going to a new apartment, or all those things, mental health services. And Utah is actually fantastic about this. You can go back more than 15 years. So let's say something happened a long time ago, and then you're just not dealing with it, and you can go back to the Office of Victims of Crime, and they'll help you with that, as long as it's documented. There's a police report, and that's amazing, though.
So you can go back 15 years to help.
Or more. I can't remember the exact number, but Utah is very liberal with how far you can go back if you were a victim of a crime. And this is not just domestic violence. This could be arson, someone, there's a lot of different things that it covers, but that's a good thing we have going on.
That's outstanding. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I interrupted you to talk about Dave. I mean, men going into the shelter to hide from their
users,
their wives. Let's go back to what other services are you offering?
Not my wife. Come on.
So at the resource center, we have pantry. So we have food and hygiene items. And then if anyone, any individual or family is in need of clothing, we can write them a clothing order. And then right next door to our pantry and resource center, we have a Tooele Thrift store. And that store is very unique because all the proceeds from that store help fund operations. So that puts fuel in our truck that goes and picks up grocery rescue items from the local grocery stores. It buys toner for our big nice copier machine. It's unrestricted dollars. So it serves multiple purposes, that thrift store. It gives items to individuals that are in need, helps fund operations, but it's very unique because it stays all right here in our area. It's not funding a large corporation. We're a small nonprofit, and everything stays right here in our community. And then that store is unique because it's been, Tooele has buildings that have been multiple things. When I was growing up, it was a pool hall. And then it's been a gym and a flooring store, and now Tooele Thrift is there. So there's showers actually in the men's bathroom, and our clients who need to shower, who don't have access to running water, can come into the store and shower before the store opens in the morning. They can come shower, and that's been so nice. And they get to change up clean clothes and, get to feel like a human again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the things you can offer through the thrift store. I mean, you can offer some limited employment opportunity. You can offer a means not to clothe them if you have to. If one of them has a job interview, you can see what you have. I mean,
Yeah, so we do that. And another great thing that we're doing is we also work with students that maybe need some job shadowing opportunities through the Tooele County School District. And they get to come in and just have an opportunity to have an out. So they get to come work at the store. And then we do job training for individuals that may need, some opportunities for something other than, well, they may not be given one. And we also work with individuals that have community service hours. So this could be youth, this could be adults. We've had both that, sometimes kids vandalize property and their parents don't have money to pay for it. So they come work at the Community Resource Center and actually, some people are like, oh, these kids are little, I'm trying not to swear so much, turkeys. And, but they come work at the Pantry and the thrift store, and they're like, this is fun. I actually like this. And they are doing good for other people. And you just see a change about them. They're, sometimes, people haven't given them the chance, and then it's contagious doing service. And we have some kids that people are like, oh, they're just a punk, I don't want to deal with them. They're great kids. Just maybe haven't been given the opportunity. And then we have adults that come in and do community service to get their fines lessened. And so that's a great thing that we do. And I'm very proud about that, because sometimes people dwell on others' mistakes. And you know what? That doesn't help anyone in society. We are all about meeting our clients where they are, and not dwelling on those mistakes, and helping them move forward and learn to be good citizens. And that's so important. Our culture is really about meeting them where they are and being kind.
Christy, I want to ask, like, throughout the past maybe 3 or 4 years, I've noticed a lot more homeless people or people on drugs just walking around in the streets. Could you give me kind of like a 30,000 mile view from your perspective? How has this troubled population grown in Tooele in comparison to the influx of peoples just coming to live here?
So absolutely, the more, our county, I think 2 years ago, we were the 7th fastest growing county in the nation. About 2 years ago, that was the data. And the more population grows, then the more people we see in need. It continues to grow. And we do have individuals that are struggling with mental illness and with drug addiction in our county. And that's hard because we lack affordable housing. That is a huge problem it's across the nation, and it's definitely here in Tooele County as well. A 1-bedroom like studio apartment's over $800 a month. A 2-bedroom apartment is more than my mortgage payment, and it's so expensive. But yes, the higher our population as it grows, the more people we see in need, continuing to grow. Just for example, we just completed the PIT count, which is called the point in time, is what that stands for. PIT is point in time, and that's something that all across the United States, there is, we're counting unsheltered homeless. And this year, when we did the point in time count in the county, we identified 30 unsheltered individuals. And that is a record for Tooele County. There's actually more that we know of, but we have to go within these guidelines of, this 2-week period. Did we make contact with them? There's some clients that didn't come into the resource center that we know are unsheltered, but we can't count them. It's just the rules that are set up by the federal government. But 30, and that is, I think there's about 40 or more, but that tells us a lot. And we see them, on Main Street all the time in Tooele. So
Yeah, that's a big number. And yeah, it's shocking. I haven't prior to probably 2 years ago, I hadn't noticed a lot of homeless around town, and they seem to be showing up out here. You've made a couple of other changes. One of the ones you changed was the food pantry, how it operates and when it operates. You want to let everyone know about
yeah,
that?
so we took over operations on July 1st, and honestly, we didn't get to go in before July 1st to see how it was handled before by previous operators. And when we came in, we realized immediately that we wanted to change how things were. It was families could only come every other month to the food pantry, and that's not enough. And we have plenty of food because we are picking up items from the local grocery stores that is fresh produce and baked bread and things like that they can't sell, but it's still good. And so families are allowed and individuals are allowed to come to the pantry every week if they need to. And then we just weigh the food that they get is weighed by the number of individuals in the household. And we are serving over 400 families a month out of that pantry. And I know more need it. It's just getting the word out about how it's operated now. And, some people don't use social media, and it's hard getting the word out about it, but we are trying to spread the word, and the clients that have been participating love it. They love the change because when COVID hit, the pantry actually shut the doors and said you can't come in, and there was no connections being made with these individuals. Like even the homeless individuals that would come and get sack lunches, they would just get a sack lunch handed to them out the door, and then that's it, no interaction. And it's so important that we make those human connections. So we have homeless individuals that come in every day and get a sack lunch, and then we have some that come and get 4 for the week or 5, and it's up to them, but we love seeing them, and they're always welcome.
And you can check up on them. You can get a
Yeah,
head count. You can help them out. I mean, it's more than just offering
yeah.
the lunch. Maybe they need to.
Oh,
Maybe.
absolutely. So they come in, and so a couple of things that we do is we try and help individuals. And you have to remember that some of these individuals may be struggling with addiction and mental illness, and they really can't make that decision to, oh, I need to call and make a doctor's appointment or have transportation. I mean, think about it. We're clear on the south end of Main Street, and if you need to go to the doctor, that's a long walk to go to urgent care, Instacare, even to the hospital emergency room if they need to, and we get transportation to get them to doctor's appointments and call and make doctor's appointments for them because it's just something they're not capable of doing. And we're happy to do that. And we're happy to let them use computers to fill out, replacement of social security cards and get to the DMV to get IDs made. And that's something that the House is working on now. The Utah House and Senate is a bill so that homeless individuals can get replacement IDs. A big hiccup is they want them to have a permanent address. Well, if you're homeless, you don't have a permanent address. How do you get your ID? How do you get a job? So it's actually a great thing that, thumbs up that they're listening to the homeless service providers of how do we help these individuals, and that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Back to that food pantry. For people who want to volunteer at the food pantry, do they need a food permit, or are there any obstacles to them volunteering for such service?
They do not need a food handler's permit to come help with the pantry because all our staff that are there have that, and so they oversee what's going on. It is so we love volunteers. We will not turn volunteers away from the food pantry or the thrift store. Because remember, that helps the mission as well. So we love having volunteers. We actually just logged over 4,000 hours of volunteer time. We use Volgistics, which is fantastic. It actually lets volunteers log in and pick, hey, I want to come to the pantry on Wednesday from 10 to 12. And that's the volunteers that are logging in on the computer. I'm not saying they have to, but if they did, it just helps us keep track because it's kind of cool to say over 4,000 hours have been donated since July 1st. But yeah, we welcome volunteers anytime putting food orders together. We have
That's a lot of hours.
actually a huge food drive coming up on March 20th. It's statewide, and we actually will be staging at Deseret Peak Pavilion because we're estimating over 45,000 pounds of food coming in on that one day.
Nice.
So
You're gonna have to get 2 semi trucks to haul that.
yeah, so we're gonna have to sort it and load it on pallets and then organize it by that. The Utah Food Bank originally wanted everything delivered to our small pantry, and I said, no way, it'll cripple operations. We gotta stage it off site, or we won't be able to be functioning.
Yeah,
the
you
next
won't be able
week
to
because
get
it's
to
on a
the food.
Saturday.
Yeah,
That's a lot of food.
Yeah,
that's
it's
fantastic.
a lot of food. It's a lot of food. We're excited, but yeah, when they did the estimate, I'm like, oh dear, we got to have a bigger place to stage. So
Now, the big news. I want to make the rest of the country jealous. Tell us about what's going on over at Harris.
So this is Harris property is a combined effort of multiple nonprofits and wonderful individuals. It's not just one person. It's actually, I get a little bit emotional talking about it. It's the whole community and coming together. I think I told you I was the homeless liaison for 6 years for the school district and worked with children and their families that were homeless. And I had some very special families I worked with during that time. And one was a mom who ended up being incarcerated, but she paid 6 months ahead on a storage unit. And that was her housing solution for her 2 boys that were in 7th and 8th grade.
So 2 7th and 8th graders living in a storage unit.
And school was starting, and I didn't know where the boys were. And I checked Tooele County Jail just to see what was going on. And sure enough, mom was there. Went to go see her and said, where are the boys? Who are they with? I want to make sure they're in school. Are they with a relative? She said, no, I paid for a storage unit, and I have them in a storage unit, and someone is checking on them, because that's all that she could think to do, what was best for them.
I applaud her on that, on the foresight of that. I mean, it's not an ideal situation, but
it was, yeah, she was trying.
Yeah, but she was trying, and she put a roof over them.
So anyway, and some other families that are generational homeless on and off, that their toilets have been Walmart sacks and buckets. So, the grocery bags you get, every time I see one, I never look at them the same way. So at the Harris property, the Tooele Housing Authority and Friends of Switchpoint, which is the parent company that I work for, have partnered, and we purchased Harris Elementary School, and that building is going to be renovated, and it'll be a true community resource center. It will have 24/7 childcare. We'll have emergency shelter for men, women, and families. And then on that 10 acres, we'll also develop affordable housing. It's going to be incredible, and we will be having public meetings to answer questions. People always first freak out when they hear a facility for unsheltered individuals. They think they're going to be loitering and drugs and lots of bad things around. No, that is not what's going to happen, because there's case management and staff 24/7, and they're getting what they need. And we don't accept those things in our facility. They're not allowed. So they either are willing participants or they don't get to be there. Plain and simple.
Yeah,
and
you're building it'll be kind of a dorm. It'll be
it's a beautiful facility. It's going to be incredible. And the 24/7 childcare, we have a lot of companies in Tooele that are shift work. If you work shift work, there's no childcare after 6 o'clock unless it's someone's house. I had a mom I worked with that had little girls, and she did graves at 7-Eleven and just parked her car in front of the door at 7-Eleven, and her baby slept in the car while she worked. That was the best she could do. with this facility, we'll have a place for those little kiddos to be because we have so many unused vouchers. Any most individuals working, at shift work would qualify for those vouchers to help pay for that childcare.
Now,
Well,
these vouchers for childcare, you say you have unused ones right now?
It's actually through the Department of Workforce Services, and there are so many that go unused because there's limited openings in childcare, and none, that I know of are after hours that are in. To use those vouchers, you have to be a licensed state provider. So it can't just be Aunt Christy watching someone's kids
Yeah.
that could use that voucher. It
So
has to be a
people can't
licensed facility.
volunteer for that job. People have to be educated in a special way to actually watch the children of these troubled individuals.
Well, to watch
We-
children for the
You
vouchers.
could be, yes, it has to be in a state licensed daycare.
So if someone out there right now has an entrepreneurial mind and they want to exercise their capitalism, there is a need for graveyard shift daycare.
Yes, there is.
There's a need for that right
Absolutely.
now. And what they ought to do is they ought to start up a daycare, or maybe see if they can pair up with an existing daycare and take a graveyard shift. Go in there when the other daycare
Oh.
closes.
It would be incredible. It would help so much. I just think, there's nurses and other industries that are 24/7. So that's something that we'll have. And then one good thing about the site for the Harris property is our clients that are at the domestic violence shelter, if they need to go to court or need to work, their kiddos get to be at that daycare. So they don't have to worry about that they're safe.
Now,
they'll be
maybe
in a
you
good
already said
place.
this, but we have a great question here in the audience. How do people donate to the project again?
Or donate to the, I think the question's more donate to the, Betsy asks, is the thrift store open to the public? And
Yes.
And can they donate directly to the thrift store?
Yes. So the thrift store, we accept donations from 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday, no appointment necessary. We simply ask if people are making donations to the thrift store that they are very conscientious that it's something that will benefit our mission. So I just like to give an example of, we had someone bring in something, furniture that had cigarette burns in it and stains and discolored. That's something that we cannot sell to help fund operations, ends up getting placed in our dumpster. But if things that are clean and in good repair, that we can pass along to another person, because that actually is, if we have people moving into their first apartment, we try and get good things from the store to help furnish their apartment.
Yeah,
at
don't
no
don't
cost
use
to them.
don't use the thrift store as the dump.
Yes, you can say that. I can.
Well, okay,
Yeah,
you heard
we
it
want
here
nice, clean things.
from Jared.
Thank you, Jared.
Keep it
Yeah.
Tooele standards.
Well, don't try to offload your garbage on them.
Yes,
Offload.
and that does happen.
It does. Of
Yep.
course, because the dump costs $12 and
Yeah,
it's
$12
further
a
away.
load. So
Yeah.
Does the dump allow you to bring those items there without having to pay, or?
No,
no, you have to pay, and if you don't have a tarp over it, I think
It's-
they charge you more.
it's double
Right.
the price if you don't have a tarp. Now, you were saying on the phone that there's going to be other services up at the Harris Elementary, such as vocational geared services, aiding
And
people, and
Yeah, so we're going to have so think about a whole bunch of social services all in one location. We're also working with some local doctors, so we have medical services available for individuals. We're actually trying to get that over on the thrift store side, because Harris, we don't get to start construction until end of July, first part of August. There's permitting and all that fun stuff we get to go through. And honestly, this process, I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, and it has taken quite a while, but it's amazing how quickly it's come together, because we have a huge tax credit. It's over $10 million tax credit. That is not an easy thing to put together. That doesn't happen overnight. So but the fact that it's come together so quickly, we're so excited about. But we will have after school programming. We are going to have a community garden. We had 2 acres of property with water rights at a different site located in Tooele, and all the fresh produce will benefit the food pantry and individuals in our community that need that, because fresh produce is expensive.
And maybe you could invite farmers to open a
Oh, yeah.
farmers market there once a week or something. You know, we could
Yeah,
hippify it, and I could go there and buy jalapeno jelly and wear flip flops and beads.
be awesome.
Yeah.
So we are trying to have it like a one-stop shop for those needs of individuals. And computer lab is, even showing people how to use the computer. There's so many, we see a large group actually of elderly senior citizens coming to the food pantry, and great generation of individuals where they're used to taking care of their own, and COVID has been hard and they don't want to ask for help, but they're so grateful when we ask, hey, is there anything else you need? We have what's called a sushi menu, and it actually asks, do you need help with hygiene, feminine products, haircuts, all these different things that you can think of that you might need on a daily basis. And they mark what they need, and then we get it to them. And we have a lot of elderly that may need they have bladder issues. They may not be need pads, and those are expensive. They're like $30 a package for those bladder pads. Not fun to talk about, but it's expensive and it's embarrassing, but we have those. And when we have an elderly woman and we say, is this something you could use, she's so happy, because they don't have money to buy those things. You can't buy those with your Medicaid, and they're on a fixed income. So we also have diapers and wipes and formula, and we have so many things available. And we're also, this is another cool thing, there's so much. We have Meals on Wheels. That's a warm meal that's delivered to people that are disabled and elderly, but we also have senior food boxes that the Utah Food Bank delivers to our pantry. But with COVID, there's some that just cannot make it to the pantry. They're nervous, they're not getting out. Winter is another factor. We haven't had the bad snow like we've had in the past, but we have volunteers that will take those senior boxes they get monthly and take them to their home, so they're not having to come out because they may be susceptible to COVID. And that's volunteers delivering those, and we're so thankful for that.
That's outstanding. That is outstanding.
Now, do you have enough volunteers for the Meals on Wheels programs? Or if you could say there's a lack of volunteers somewhere within this ecosystem of social service, where would you point the needle to?
That's tough. That's a hard question to answer. I would say we'll never turn down volunteers. We do have it just depends on the day, honestly. What I would really like to try and get is people to say, you know what, Christy, I will be there every Monday for 2 hours. And that way we can plan, hey, this is what I can have this individual do.
Stability.
But a lot of people don't want to commit to that time, and I don't think we're trying to help educate why that's so important, because it helps us plan all the other things that we have going on. If someone could commit, I can be there every Monday for 2 hours, every Wednesday for 2 hours, or that would be outstanding, because then we can plan with staff, fill in the gaps where everything else is. Another cool thing we have going on, or that's happened, is we have veterans in Tooele County that didn't even know they were eligible for a pension. Vietnam veterans weren't even getting their pension. And my dad was a Vietnam veteran, and so one of these sweet veterans, I just came across, he came into the pantry to get food and noticed, he needed some extra help. We could tell. And that could have been my dad, and this sweet man was living out of his car on his property. He was homeless on his own property because his house was uninhabitable. And it took a little doing, but we got the right people involved, Veterans Affairs and Veterans Fellowship, shout out to them in Ogden. And he now is in an apartment and is getting the care that he needs. His solution for the winter was going to be, Christy, buy me an electric blanket and I'll just plug it into my house electricity and sleep in my car. That's what his solution was going to be. And that's just not acceptable. He was estranged from his family, and they said they tried to help him so much and he didn't want to listen. And, you know, family can be difficult, and sometimes individuals can be difficult, and so families give up and turn aside from them. And for whatever reason, we were able to reach him, but it just took just being kind to him and talking to him and being at the pantry and letting him shower. He was so happy to have a hot shower.
I could imagine that hot shower would be a hot ticket item to help these individuals. Because I'll be honest with you, there's not a lot of places people can go get a shower. You know what, the gym. If you're homeless, there's not a lot of places. And
how do you get to Flying J?
Yeah.
How do you get out there?
And then you got to dodge
money.
the lot lizards as you make your way in, and I mean you got to be up on your running back game for that.
Yeah, so it's just a game changer for some of them. And you know, I wish I could do more. We're working on it. It is the fact that we have a shower and they can change into clean underwear and socks, and if they need other things, we try and give it to them. But it makes such a big difference. And even we do haircuts. We don't do haircuts. We work with Tooele Technical College. They give us vouchers so clients can go get haircuts. So, you know, it's important for them to be able to go to a job interview and, you know, be clean.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like those unrestricted funds that come from the thrift store, if we have a client we're working with and they need steel-toed boots, we don't have those at the thrift store. Guess what? We can go buy them steel-toed boots with those unrestricted dollars. That's super important.
So can you reach out for volunteers at the Tooele Technical School?
At the Tooele Technical School?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? Tooele T-Tech, shout out to Tim Booth. He's the CDL driver instructor. He's amazing. We have a great partnership with them because sometimes we have a bunch of stuff that we need moved, and so he'll come move a tractor trailer for us, but have his student drivers actually practice driving. It's a learning opportunity for them, but they're doing community service for us, and that's incredible. It's a great partnership. He actually took a load out went and picked up some pallets from Walmart Distribution Center for us, and Walmart Distribution Center was so touched by T-Tech helping this nonprofit, asked, do you help other nonprofits? Because a veterans nonprofit in Salt Lake was getting like a U-Haul truck and picking up one pallet at a time because they just didn't have the funds. And Tim's like, you know what? I'll do that for them. I can do that. No questions asked. It's cool.
That is so really cool.
It's just a simple thing, but how many people say no when they could say yes? And that's just another, you know, important thing that we're trying to spread the word. If you can fill a gap or a void, do it. I mean,
I know you said a minute ago you wish you could do more, but what you're doing is amazing. I mean, honestly, it is amazing. You're finding these gaps that you can fill, and you're bringing a lot of groups of the community together, and it's very impressive. And I'm proud to say that this is happening here in Tooele.
And it's so many great groups. it's, we have the school district, we have the health department, we have the housing authority, we have our volunteers from all different religious denominations, and just people want to do good. And I think it's so great because anytime we've asked for help from the community, the response has been incredible. It's just getting the word out that what's needed. And just on Wednesday was our first Wednesday warm up. It was something that was being done through the Methodist Church, but when COVID hit, they had to stop because how that organization is structured, their higher up said, no, we can't have that, it's too dangerous. And so it went away, and that was something that the unsheltered homeless really looked forward to because they got to mingle and visit and have something warm to eat. So we, as the there's the local homeless coalition council, which is a bunch of individual homeless service providers, and we get together, and this is something that had been on my mind for a while, and we said, let's do it. Let's do Wednesday warm up again. And so we did it on Wednesday, and we only had 3 come, but I know the word will travel fast for those individuals that want a hot meal, and every Wednesday we'll have that at the pantry, and it will grow. The word will get out, and it will grow, and then when we can mingle, then we will be able to sit down and visit with them, and that will be so good.
I wish there was a way that we could say thank you to all the people contributing to this giving ecosystem that you've created, because it sounds like there's a lot of effort and love going into this. It's
incredible. I really, and we have a great staff. We really are a skeleton crew. We don't have a lot of staff, and we just really volunteers make all the difference in how we are able to do things. But there's just such a great group that I'm so fortunate to call my teammates. I couldn't do it without them. And like today, actually, the last 2 days we spent cutting wood and boarding up Harris Elementary because we had vandals coming in, breaking windows. We're it's kids probably looking for their board,
looking for service opportunities.
So we spent the 2 days boarding up exterior doors and windows, especially for the parts of the building that we'll be using that was a lot of cutting.
I'm sure it was. Now, when you build up the Harris Elementary for affordable housing, how many units are you initially expecting to get out of that?
So that's actually separate from like the main part of the resource center. So that property is almost 10 acres. So there'll be 2 3-story buildings, one with 1-bedroom units and one with 2-bedroom units. And that's, I can't remember how many units are on it just now. But what we've found is if individuals have a place to live, that solves so many of our problems. It actually costs more money to keep them homeless than to have them housed.
Yeah. No,
So
that's impressive. And I don't know. Dave said, how do we thank? He wished we could thank everyone, but all we can do is thank you and ask you to pass that on to everyone you work with. I think that is. We will.
And we just have incredible people. We're just so fortunate. And if anyone is interested in volunteering, they can send an email to info@TooeleCRC.org and say, I'm interested in volunteering, and we'll send them a note. And there's, like I said, we never turn away volunteers, and we will have more opportunities as things progress, especially with the community garden on planting and all that fun stuff that's going to go in with that. And there's a lot.
Give us that email again.
So it's info@TooeleCRC.org.
And it will also be in the show notes along with Dave's rescue phone number and all that. That matter of fact, I'm going to have Christy after this send me an email of any information she wants to be in the show notes, contact information.
betcha.
any of that stuff, it'll be in the show notes, so you can go there through any of the podcatchers, YouTube, what have you. Go right directly there, and I'll make sure they're hot linked in there.
And please, if
Awesome.
you're out there, volunteer for some of this stuff if you're looking for something to do in the community.
Yeah, help your people out. I mean, these are our friends and neighbors. And we got a few more comments, Christy, before
Hey,
we cut you loose.
okay.
Carl says he worked on one of the food trucks, and from the food bank, and it had a blown tire, so they replaced it. But he mentioned he's heard a lot of positive things about the pantry lately. And so,
Good.
and that's changes that you've made, making it so it's more available and more often, because once every 2 months is not enough. Michael Weiss says, night care facility. I'm telling you, that's an opening right now that you would have to, one person couldn't take it on, because there is an overabundance of shift work out here. Most industry out here works in shifts, runs 24 hours a day. So
Most of our big employers.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So if you could
Yep.
figure out how to pick up at that, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., when, figure out how to do that, how to roll that time over, so that even if you worked with other daycares and someone worked a swing shift, you went and picked their children up, brought them to your facility, and then they picked them up at 1 a.m. That's a venture right there that would be an instant success. I guarantee that. And Betsy asks again, tell us again the app for volunteering. Now, you gave us the email if you want to volunteer. Now, that volunteering app, that's a tracking, right?
Yeah, so what we do first, so they would email at info@toolecrc.org, because then we actually send them an application, and we actually do a little orientation for the volunteers. And then once that's done, then they can sign up through Volgistics. So yeah, we just have a little bit of process for the volunteers that are serious, that want to commit time. We just like to do an onboarding so they understand our mission and culture. One thing that's really important is trauma-informed care, because a lot of our clients have had really difficult life experiences, and we want to make sure that staff and volunteers respond to clients in the same way. It's really important that we kind of prepare them for what they may hear or see. So if they email info@Tooele CRC, then we'll reach out and schedule, like, hey, come do a volunteer application, and then we talk about here's what are you comfortable doing? Are you comfortable doing food orders? Are you comfortable maybe doing an intake with one of the clients? Or are you comfortable sorting clothes at it's what are they comfortable doing? My husband does not want to sort clothes at the thrift store. He hates that, but he loves doing food orders at the food pantry.
Yeah, definitely. So if you guys want to volunteer, that's okay. One more time, info@CRC. Nope.
info@TooeleCRC.org.
info@TooeleCRC.org.
And for
Yes.
the younger generation, what a great resume piece it would be to have some of this volunteer work to be able to present future employers.
Oh yeah, and imagine what you could learn volunteering. You could learn, what it takes to run a retail store, what it takes to run a food pantry. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could pick up, and you're going to walk away feeling good.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, Christine, we'll cut you loose now, but thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank you.
I will email you. Thank you so much. I hope you guys, I'm sorry I had to cancel last week.
Oh, it's
but
okay. What you were doing was way more important than talking to a couple of knuckleheads. But anytime you have information you need to put out, send us
you bet you.
message either of us and just say, hey, I've got to put some information out. It'll take 5 minutes. It'll take an hour, whatever. You let us know. We will get you on the schedule.
Or even better yet, I'll throw this out there. Christy, if you have an event that you want to be broadcast and publicized, feel free to give us an invite.
Yeah.
We'll do a show right there on scene.
Yeah, we'll show up.
we may, let's talk about that. We have that
Yeah.
big food drive coming up. We have a bunch of really cool things coming. So I will stay in touch. Thanks for having me. I so
Oh.
appreciate it. And I will email you all the info about opportunities for good in our
Yes,
community. Okay.
definitely. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Christine.
Thank you.
And
Bye guys.
and we hope to hear from you soon and hear more prosperity. I Harris Elementary, I mean, you're going to be making everyone in the nation jealous with that. That
It's
is,
a cool project. The whole state's talking about it. It's a really cool, it is a dream come true. It's amazing.
yes, it is. It's
Okay. Take
fantastic.
care.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that is it. Join us next week or join us tomorrow. We're going to be talking to Representative Shipp about a new bill he's putting in to bring firearms education, safety education back into the school. And
March 18, and we got a good show too.
Yeah.
We got a representative from OUR, the Operation Underground Railroad,
Yep.
coming on. And she's going to talk to us about what they're doing and their projected future exploits. So
yeah,
I'm excited about that.
join us next Thursday. We're going to have kind of a men's health. Some guys from the health department come in, talk about the men's health push that they've got going on, and give us a breakdown of that. But yeah, so we got some good stuff going on. Shows are ramping up. We're looking at doing multiple shows, almost like we're in an election cycle. But it just seems like there's a lot going on, and voices are needed out there. Shows might be short, they might be long, but keep showing up because we're gonna keep having these shows. We will definitely have Christine on again. What they're doing there is fantastic. I know that I started buying my coffee at 7-Eleven because shout out to 7-Eleven has delicious coffee on my way to work in the mornings. And you notice there's quite a few shelterless people there in the morning. So you start noticing there's more shelterless people, and you see repetition of them. And let's reach out, let's help them out, let's get them get them on their feet, get them back into society, and then they can help out another person, and people helping people and all that stuff. All right, thank you so much for joining us, and we will
We'll see you on the next run.
we'll catch up with you guys tomorrow night.
Thank you.